Hello everyone, back from Orania and from Beaufort West. Vlogs of those two trips will be live on the channel very soon. But yes, over the course of the weekend, John has released a letter. And in this letter he says to his other coalition partners that basically, guys, we can't work with the Patrick Alliance in Johannesburg, and therefore it appears that Johannesburg will remain in the hands of the ANC and the EFF and the Patrick Alliance in that particular order. And the reasons for not wanting to work with the Patrick Alliance, well, I mean, let's just read them for ourselves. He says there are no formal coalitions in Joburg. That's fine. And it looks like, according to them, that the Patrick Alliance is just not someone that is worthy of being trusted. And the important point is point number 7 that says the PA has not convinced us that they share our commitment to coalition stability grounded in shared values. They were clear, direct, and frank about this. And also, John does make mention that the PA might be having a motion of no confidence in the DA mayor of Nelson Mandela Bay. So, in essence, the DA doesn't want to work with the PA in Joburg, and it appears on any level whatsoever. So, Byron, what are your views on this?
So we spent time with Mr. McKenzie, and he made his point on this very clear. The first is that he wanted to put a motion of no confidence in the mayor of Port Elizabeth because he wanted the DA to understand that the true kingmakers in the country was the PA. If the PA and the DA found common ground and they agreed to work together, he would effectively install the DA as kings across all the metros and municipalities that they have kingmakership abilities in. The problem is that the DA specifically considers the PA to be a threat to their core voter base. We've seen a number of instances that in DA sections of the country, the DA has lost its vote or had its vote split to the Patriotic Alliance, which means that, to be honest, when it goes through to 2024, the PA poses a threat to the Democratic Alliance, specifically in the Western Cape. Now, for those of you who need to be reminded, the Western Cape's DA heartland, right? I mean, they've been ruling that province for a very long time. Unfortunately, the PA threatens to dislodge the DA's majority in that part of the country, and the DA is not very keen on this. But with that being said, I asked the man for a comment this morning, and he did actually provide us with one.
John Steenhuisen is like a guy that goes to the bank for a loan and telling the bank, yeah, before I take your money, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. He came to us, asked me for a meeting, say he wants us to join. And now when we consider it, he comes back and he says, yeah, but now this and this and that. We don't report to the Democratic Alliance. We don't report to John Steenhuisen. The time of him en wat jy het Melanie is verby. Who will do the deal that best suit the residents of Joburg, which is our voters also.
As we've seen even in the letter from the DA, the problem that they have with the PA is effectively one of purity. Now, we don't really take that view. We feel, and we did this in a podcast last week, for those of you who haven't already, please check out our podcasts on Substack. We did say in the podcast that the DA should be taking an approach of no enemies to the right. The PA wants to put the DA in power, but unfortunately, the DA wants to apply a purity test to say, we are much better than you, Mr. PA, so we can't work with you until you reach our standards of godliness.
Well, I mean, there's a bit of a problem sort of on both sides. So we made a video a while ago calling actually say the Karens of South Africa. And in that particular video, we did say that, you know, the DA is the largest opposition party in this country by far. So any arrangement needs to have the say of the DA, purity test or not. But on the other hand, in our podcast, we said it's fine to have purity tests, but when your enemies, like the ANC, have no purity tests of their own and are quite willing to work with anyone, including the DA, by the way, then the purity test that you put towards your own coalition partners is actually holding you back from your goal. And if your goal is curing South Africa and killing communism, the PA could be a very important partner in that particular goal. So it's a double-edged sword. For us, the DA is a very powerful opposition party. They should have perhaps an outsized role in coalition agreements. But on the other hand, that outsized role cannot be based purely on purity testing every single person. Sometimes you just have to make a pragmatic political decision to achieve the goal you wish to achieve, which is the utter destruction of the ANC and the EFF. You can't have a Moonshot Pact intention and then sort of say, "Oh, but the PA is not good enough for us." There's a bit of a vagary there that I don't know. Only the DA can really explain why that is.
Yeah, so the difficulty that the DA has is that their beef with Mr. McKenzie is that he used to be a bank robber. Fact, he was a bank robber. And he was a man who says he was redeemed in prison. He claims to have found God, and he says the light of God helped him to transform his personality. He now feels that he is on a divine crusade against corruption in the country. But as he said, you may look at me and say, well, I'm just a giant grifter because I'm working with the ANC and the EFF. And no doubt many people in the comment section will say just that. The problem in that narrative is this: Mr. McKenzie needs power to effect change, and the ANC and the EFF have given him power. In the areas that he controls, the portfolios that he controls, he is able to effect change. It's all good and fine for the DA to sit on the sidelines and basically say, well, okay, but look how pure we are. But without pure political power, you can be as pure as Snow White, but it means nothing. You need political power to effect change. And until you have political power, you have nothing. Just a giant, look at me, I have the moral high standing. The problem comes in that Mr. McKenzie is able to give the DA power, but in return, they need to keep the PA in power. So when the PA already has power, why would they hand it over and become no ones and say, okay, but what we're going to do is empower the DA? And there will be lots of people in the comment section that say, yeah, but it's for the good of the country. This is politics, guys. Grow up. There's no such thing as for the good of the country. It's for power. He who has power rules politics. And right now, the PA has power. So why would they relinquish power in order to have the moral grandstanding? It's stupid.
Yeah, it doesn't make too much sense. And I think the DA needs to sort of understand that as well. Sometimes politics is not about principles, even though we bang on about principles quite a lot in this particular podcast. But what we are saying is that, guys, you have a goal. The goal is to run the country. Unfortunately, you'll need the PA to do it. They're on course to maybe get 1 million votes come 2024, which could be up to 10% of the vote. I mean, they grew immensely in the local government elections in 2021, and they are keeping, and by the looks of it, they are continuing to grow at that particular pace. So the PA will be the kingmaker, as we've said on this channel a few times. And I think it's very important for the DA just to acknowledge that, because if they don't, the worst case scenario is going to be ANC, EFF, and maybe the TA propping them up, because the ANC and the EFF treat the PA like a partner. The coalition partners and the DA in particular must do that as well to prevent that from happening. Will it happen though? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. But for those of you who want to see Ramon and I join the PA and become the mayor of Nelson Mandela Bay and the mayor of Johannesburg and help to keep the PA in line, let us know in the comment section below. DA didn't take us seriously, despite being DA shills, according to some. They never really paid us. We're still waiting for the damn check in the post. And now the post office has been liquidated, so that check ain't ever arriving.
Well, that's
With
why
that
we
all
haven't
being
been
said,
paid. That's why we haven't been
yeah,
paid.
afraid so, my friend.
True story.
With that all being said, if Mr. McKenzie wants to put us in those roles and he wants to appoint us as PR counselors and let us take over the municipalities, I'm pretty sure our audience would approve.